Hello, and welcome to today's discussion. My name is Matthew Kranig, and I'm Vice President and Senior Director of the Atlantic Council's Scowcroft Center for Strategy and Security. The world has entered a new period of strategic competition, with the United States and its allies facing revisionist autocratic rivals. There's a major ongoing war in Europe, a conflict in the Middle East, and worries about rising tensions in the Indo Pacific. The United States and its allies need the ability to deter and, if necessary, defeat multiple rivals in overlapping timeframes. Already, we see that the United States lacks the defense industrial base and possibly the political will to provide military assistance to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. The United States also lacks a conventional force posture capable of deterring multiple major power adversaries in overlapping timeframes. To effectively meet the free world's defense needs, U.S. allies will need to step up, and the United States will need to rely more heavily on the capabilities and defense industries of allies and partners. To discuss these issues today, we're very fortunate to be joined by Pierroberto Folgiero, CEO of the Italian shipbuilding company Fincantieri. Mr. Folgiero has been the Chief Executive Officer of Fincantieri since 2022. Fincantieri is a company that works closely with the U.S. Navy and has several shipbuilding sites in the United States. Fincantieri contributes insights and financial support to the Atlantic Council's Europe Center and Scowcroft Center, including our research on maritime operations. Mr. Folgiero, welcome to the Atlantic Council. We're delighted to have you here today.
We're very happy to join you.
Great. Well, I have a number of questions, so maybe we should dive right in.
Sure.
As I mentioned in the intro, the United States, in its defense strategy, sees cooperation with allies and partners as very important. Given your close cooperation with the U.S. Navy, how do you view the importance of allied defense industrial cooperation, particularly between the United States and Italy? And what are the unique strengths that you think that Italy brings to this partnership?
I believe that the first strength is to make available our global expertise in shipbuilding. Fincantieri has a large experience since ever all over the world in complicated shipbuilding. We have 18 shipyards in 4 continents. We have more than 20,000 people working with us. And the idea of investing in US almost 15 years ago was to procure that this global expertise in shipbuilding is channeled in our Marinette company, which is in the region of Great Lakes, where we employ 3,000 people, and we are working on the Constellation class frigate program. So the first thing we can contribute is our know-how, our global expertise, and to join forces with the shipbuilding expertise of the region of Great Lake. That was an area where in the old times, during the Second World War, the American battleships were crafted. So there is a lot of legacy, a lot of DNA. So the first big success is to join the DNAs of Italians and Americans in shipbuilding. The second good result would be not only on the industrial part, but also in a geopolitical sense. You know that shipbuilding is about building platforms, and those platforms can become a standard also at international level. So a good ambition of the cooperation could be to create a platform, a frigate and a platform that is so well proven that will be adopted internationally, for example, as the platform of NATO. That could be a big success because, you know, in the future, defense expenditure will be increased, but it's not only important to spend more, but it's so important to spend better. And to spend better, you have to join forces, join platforms, reduce and distribute common costs, and allocate the budget on what is peculiar and not on what could be shared, like a platform.
Well, in a shared platform, because one of the challenges we're facing right now is the defense market is so fragmented, and so having a shared platform could help to deal with that challenge. Is that how you see it?
But you know, this is a very important theme discussed in Europe today. So European defense has to cope with a situation whereby we have 10 times less budget than US, and 10 times more platforms. So European defense need to manage fragmentation. And the best way to manage fragmentation is to share platforms and to share as much as possible it also at a transatlantic level. You know, there is this concept of interoperability and interchangeability. So the prerequisite for this to happen is to adopt platforms that are similar as possible.
I think one of the other strengths of the United States Italy relationship among democracies broadly is innovation. And we see the war in Ukraine as being shaped by new technologies like drones. But technological developments also could transform the maritime theater. And so, what do you see in terms of a shift toward greater technological innovation, maybe unmanned capabilities or other novel designs in the maritime theater? And how will that affect the future of shipbuilding?
First of all, as any sector, also shipbuilding has to embrace digitalization. So there is a lot of activity on the concept of digital twin of the ship that will help basically the training, but not only the training, also the management of industrial data of a ship, and also management of the preventive maintenance of ship. So first of all is digitalization of the ship. The digitalization of the ship gets along with the digitalization of the naval base. So there will be also a different level of interaction between the onshore infrastructure and offshore naval assets through telecommunication and digital. The second very important piece of innovation is about underwater. We strongly believe that, in particular in the Mediterranean Sea, that it's probably the most congested sea on Earth, because it's quite small compared to the ocean, but full of cables, infrastructure, telecom infrastructure, very important seabeds for mining exploitation, energy at sea, gas pipelines. I would say also a lot of geopolitical tensions, immigrations, and things like that. So it's very important that the new technology are validated to enhance the underwater domain. The underwater will be what the space used to be 40 years ago. New telecommunications are needed in order to manage the ship as a mothership and smaller submarines and drones employed in the same mission, in the same task more and more. So those are the two digital innovations that are going to happen in the shipbuilding and the combatant ship in the future, according to me.
Very interesting. Of course, to do that, you need a workforce. And I was honored recently to be appointed by the US Congress to a commission to review US strategic forces policy. And our commission recommended that the United States buy more submarines for nuclear deterrence issues. But one of the challenges is we don't really have the workforce to do that, including enough qualified welders. So industry is dealing with this issue worldwide. How do you see industry responding to these workforce challenges? What are some of the ways to overcome them?
As any other heavy industry, in Western countries, it's very difficult to find workers, to find welders. This is an issue in every Western country. It is like this in US, but it's the same in Europe, it's the same in Italy. So how to be a manufacturing power without enough labor? That's the big question mark of Western countries. And definitely shipbuilding is a strategic industry. So it's very important to procure that shipbuilding is reinforced. You know what? It's very important that we convince, first of all, our own people that production it's a good job. So we have to retell the story of shipbuilding, and to do this we need to modernize shipyards. Shipyards are still in the old century in terms of production technologies. For example, we launched a very interesting project that is the first robotized welder. So it's a welder machine driven by a robot. And technology is there. So there is a lot of technology already validated, and it's almost a commodity in the automotive sector that can be quote unquote imported from out of automotive to shipbuilding. And for example, this robotized welder is, uh, is reusing a technology developed in the automotive. It has the performance of 3 workers. We have already industrialized this solution. So it's not only a proof of concept, but it's already an industrialized application. We are buying 30 for Fincantieri Group, and 2 of this will be sent to Marinette in order to validate the concept also in US. So very soon in our US shipyards, we will use this new technology. Obviously, it increases the productivity of the shipyard, but what is most important, it attracts to the production young people. Because one thing is to be an old style welder, another thing is to manage the interface between the man and the machine with the robotized welders. So it's very important to reconvince our young people that production is good. And in order for it to happen, it's very important that we leverage on available technologies and try to mitigate certain activities that are very heavy, that are very old style, but easily and gradually we can substitute those activities with robotized activities.
Very interesting. So, defense industry becomes a cutting edge technology working with robots, and I can see how that would be attractive to a younger workforce. I want to end with a big picture question. Just more broadly, what are the opportunities? What are the challenges that you see in the future of US Italy defense cooperation, industry in the maritime domain, or more broadly?
But I'm very focused on the underwater for the future. I believe that Italy has to progressively take care of what is happening in the Mediterranean underwater. We will be very happy to be an integrator of new solutions, integrator of new technologies. I believe truly that the Mediterranean underwater can be a kind of perfect place to validate new approaches, new models, and new technology. And I believe that the fact that we are also in US can create the possibility to cross-fertilize technologies validated in US with applications needed in the Mediterranean Sea. So I'm a great believer in the future of underwater, and I would like to take advantage of this liaison across the Atlantic to procure that technologies are shared more and more.
Well, it would be great to work together on underwater and for the US Italy alliance to continue to be strong in many other areas as well. Mr. Folgiero, it's been a fascinating conversation. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, your question, and I'm very, very happy to join forces with Atlantic Council.
Yes, we're happy to have you here. So, the conversation around Allied defense industrial cooperation is far from over. Today's discussion has shed light on the importance of Allied collaboration and highlighted some innovative solutions on the horizon. So, to our audience, thank you for joining us today, and please stay tuned for future Atlantic Council work on the greatest defense challenges facing the United States and its allies and effective strategies for addressing them. Thank you.